Alright, I'm sick and I'm back at it with my very late picks for the Evloev versus Murphy UFC London card. This to me is a decent card. The main event's solid. I don't think it's as good as last week's card. Last week's card I gave it like a 7 out of 8. This to me is more of like a 5 out of 6, but it's a good number one contender fight. We got Luke Riley in the co-main, MVP in the featured fight against Sam Patterson. Ewo's probably going to slime out Austin Lane. We got Kristen Leroy Duncan, and on the prelims we got, and Curtis Campbell's here, and on the prelims we got Mason Jones. Keita versus Nathaniel Wood should be solid. A Mario Pinto appearance. Fucking Louis Sutherland, and the Shamrock Shake. And yeah, that's about it, so let's get into this. To start the card, Melissa Mullins versus Luana Carolina. I think Melissa Mullins has looked better against better comp. She has a good ground game and good jiu-jitsu. And Luana has a Muay Thai background, so I think she's going to struggle against that. I'm going to go Melissa Mullins with a 29-28 decision. Next fight is Chanel Dyer versus Ravina Oliveira. And I think Chanel Dyer looks pretty good. The volume, the pace, the pressure. She's got powerful punches and good kicks. And the tape I watched of her was pretty impressive. Ravina Oliveira is 0-2 to start her UFC career, and to me, she's just a step behind Dyer on the ground and will be 2 steps behind her on the feet, so I'm going to go Dyer by KO. Next fight is Shamrock versus Abdul Karim Al-Selwahidi. Both are coming off losses in their debut and looking for their first win in the organization. And I really want to pick Shamrock. You know, he has the good ground game, good submission game, but the striking and the striking defense is just questionable at best. And you know, Al-Selwahidi is decent on the ground and, you know, has solid takedown defense, so I think he'll be okay there. And I think he'll win in the striking, so I have him getting the decision. Alright, man, next fight is Louis Sutherland versus Brando Pericic. And Louis Sutherland's pretty much just a brawler. Not much to him, but, you know, just classic heavyweight brawler. Brando Pericic got a knockout in the first round in his debut, but it was kind of against a random, so I don't know how much I rate that. Pericic is bigger and has a better reach and is younger, but I'm still going to pick Sutherland by knockout. Feels like such a bad pick, but fuck it. Louis Sutherland, man. This right here, folks, is a sacrificial lamb matchup if I've ever seen it. Montaz Kondratavicius, nailed it, is coming off a first round knockout on the Contender Series where he landed a punch and it just looked like a right hand over the top, but it sounded like a brick hit a fucking wall. He's got serious power in his hands. And he fights long and rangy and has some solid kicks as well. Tricoli has lost 3 in a row and hasn't really looked that impressive, so I'm going to go Montaz by knockout. Next fight is Mario Pinto versus Felipe Franco, and Franco is a light heavyweight taking this fight on short notice, and Mario Pinto is a pretty good heavyweight who's been on a good run, so just based off that, I'm going to go Pinto by knockout. Nathaniel Wood versus Losine Keita should be a pretty good fight. Nathaniel Wood's been on a good run recently, and Keita is making his debut after missing weight in his scheduled debut against Patricio Pitbull. I have Nathaniel Wood by a tough decision. And to end the prelims, Mason Jones versus Axel Sola, a pretty good fight, honestly. Both are pretty good prospects, but I have Mason Jones getting it done by just mixing in more of that ground game and more of that clinch work and getting the decision. Curtis Campbell versus Danny Silva is a tough fight to call, honestly. Danny Silva just went 15 minutes with Kevin Vallejos, and we saw what he just did to Josh Emmett. He's mainly a decision guy, but he's just solid overall and pretty durable. Curtis Campbell has looked pretty good, but he hasn't beaten anybody that impressive, and I have Danny Silva sneaking out the vet decision. Alright, man, Christian Leroy Duncan should smoke Roman Dolidze. Masterclass on him. Christian Leroy Duncan is a very good striker. I have Christian Leroy Duncan with a second round finish. Next fight, Austin Lane's been around for a while. He's going against Iwo Baranowski, who has crazy power and some crazy finishes and should get the finish in this fight too. Probably in the first round, honestly. Austin Lane's chin is very suspect. Next fight is MVP versus Sam Patterson, and, you know, kind of an interesting fight to call as well. Patterson has 4 round 1 finishes in a row. but MVP definitely has the experience edge and has seen the better competition. So I think MVP will be able to withstand the early exchanges and be able to get the decision. Co-main is Luke Riley versus Michael Aswell, and Luke Riley's good, man. He has really good striking, really good combos, comes from a Muay Thai background, and Michael Aswell is just an okay fighter. He lost the decision to Belagioki, if that says anything, and I think Luke Riley is probably going to get the finish and at worst sneak out the hometown decision. So I got Luke Riley in the co-main. And last fight on the card is Movsar Evloev versus Lerone Murphy. And you know, man, my heart says Lerone Murphy, but my brain says Movsar Evloev. And recently in those matchups, I've been taking my heart, but that's kind of been failing. So unfortunately, we're going to go with the brain decision in this fight and take Movsar Evloev. I think Movsar will be able to just 1-2 leg kick his way out of anything too crazy from Lerone Murphy. And from there, we'll probably do a lot of clinch work, a lot of work against the fence, and shoot a lot of takedowns. I have Movsar getting it done by slightly boring decision. Alright, so there are my picks for the card. Let me know what y'all think, and I will catch you on the next one.